Hi, my name is Amara. I'm 16 years old, and I live in Phoenix now. Mostly the motels off Van Buren or whatever weekly place will rent to a kid who pays cash and doesn't ask questions. I didn't plan to be here. Nobody plans this. Things just stacked on top of each other until there wasn't any air left. And this was the only door that opened when I knocked. People want the short version. The short version is, my mom was gone before I could say mom. My dad went in and out of prison, and every time he came back, it felt like a storm no one warned me about. When I was 9, I borrowed his phone for my birthday because he told my grandma it'd be a treat. I shouldn't have looked through the videos, but I did. There was one from when I was 4. I didn't have words for what I was seeing. Just this cold shaking inside me that never really stopped. When he got out again and I asked him why would you do that to your own kid? Things didn't get safer. They got closer, smaller, like the room was shrinking around me. By 14, I was easy to spot. The girl who flinches, the girl who's half here and half outside her body. That's how a man, older, practiced, found me. He said I looked hungry. I was. He said I looked lost. I was. He said he could help. He didn't. He locked me in a closet and sold me in pieces, time slots, like I was an appointment on someone else's calendar. I don't know how long I was there. Time isn't real when the light never changes. The door opened, the door closed. My brain learned to float. That's how I survived, by drifting. If you've never had to leave your body to stay alive, I hope you never learn how. When I finally got out, I thought home would catch me. It didn't. People have this look when they think you're dirty. They don't say it because they're polite, but you can feel it on your skin like a film you can't wash off. I tried going back to school. 8th grade, late, tired, pretending I could still be a kid. But the whispers were louder than the hallway bell. I stopped showing up. I started staying out. I met a boy who said he was my boyfriend. The money we made sat in a shoebox. We called it ours. Maybe it was. Maybe I just needed to believe that someone would share something with me and not take it all. People ask, why this? Like there's a clean answer. It's easy money, they say. You don't fill out paperwork. You don't sit through fake smiles at an interview. You just show up and it happens. And for a minute, it can feel like power. Cars pull over and tell you you're beautiful. After years of feeling invisible or worse, that does something to you. The truth is, most girls out there have low self-esteem because the world taught us to. We're not born this way. We're shaped into it. If a stranger's headlights are the first warm thing that lands on your face all day, you start mistaking warmth for light. I'm not using now. I did a little crystal when I was taken, because he pushed it on me, and because it kept me awake, and because it made the edges blur. It's hard to heal when your nerves are always ringing like a fire alarm. I stopped. I needed to feel my hands again. I needed to feel anything that belonged to me. I count time in good socks and motel keys. In the mornings, I check the bruises like weather. Some fade, some linger. PTSD is a long name for short moments that grab you by the throat. A slam of a door, a voice that sounds like another voice, a smell you didn't ask for. I'm supposed to be on meds for depression and anxiety, but you need an address for those, and sometimes I don't have one, so I do what I can. I breathe, I write in a cheap notebook, I hold my belly and talk to the little pulse I found there 2 months ago. Yes, I'm pregnant. Yes, it's complicated. Yes, the baby's father is the boy who says he loves me. He buys food when we have money and falls asleep with his shoes on when we don't. I don't know what kind of dad he'll be. I don't know what kind of mom I can be. I just know I want this kid to grow up never learning how to float out of their body. When you live like this, people think you stop believing in things like karma. I still do. Good and bad. My dad's is coming. I don't have to deliver it. Mine can change. I'm young enough to turn the wheel if I don't waste time pretending I'm not lost. That's the promise I made to myself the night a client asked me to do something I didn't want. And I said no. He got mad. I kept saying no. I walked away with less money and more of myself. And that trade felt like the first right math I've done in years. Sometimes I think about kids I knew back in Oklahoma and California City. How they post cars and apartments and boring jobs they complain about. I'm happy for them. I'm also sad for me. Both can be true. I tell myself school isn't gone forever. I can go back. I want to study victim advocacy, learn the language of courtrooms and clinics, so I can be the adult I needed at 9, at 14, at every age in between. I want to speak in schools that can't afford speakers and tell girls there are other ways to carry pain ways that don't turn it into income. Do I judge the men who pull over? I try not to because I'm the one standing there. I don't know their lives. They don't know mine. Everyone is lonely in their own way. But loneliness isn't an excuse. It's a warning. If you're not careful, it makes you pay with parts of yourself you can't grow back. If you ask what I've learned, it's this. Going back to the scene of the hurt doesn't heal it. It just reenacts it until your body thinks that's all it deserves. I'm tired of reenactments. I want new scenes. I want to stand in a kitchen that belongs to me and burn the first pancake because that's what happens when you're learning. I want to hang a cheap curtain. At night, Phoenix feels like a movie that never ends. Same street, same lights, same sound of heels hitting the pavement. I walk with my head up, but my eyes stay low. I know which corners have cameras and which ones don't, which motels let you pay by the hour, and which clerks don't care if you come back bleeding. The city smells like burnt rubber and hairspray. The sky never gets dark enough to feel like sleep. Most nights start the same way. I do my makeup in the bathroom mirror, crack down the middle so my face looks doubled. 2 Amaras, one pretending, one surviving. I don't do it for beauty. I do it to armor myself. Mascara is paint. Lipstick is a line between who I was and who I have to be. I used to wear pink. Now I wear red because it hides better under neon. Sometimes girls younger than me walk by. They don't look lost yet. They still think the cars pulling over means they're special. I want to tell them that those headlights don't love you. That the compliments fade the second the window rolls up again. But I don't say anything. We all have to learn in our own way, and the lesson always hurts. There's a man who circles the block every Friday. He never gets out of his car. He just watches. At first it scared me. Now it's just part of the background noise. Fear turns into routine if you stay in it long enough. That's something nobody tells you. The body gets used to anything if it has to. My boyfriend says I overthink. He says we're doing what we have to until something better comes. He sleeps a lot during the day, keeps the money under his side of the mattress, and calls me baby when he needs something. I don't know if that's love or just another word for ownership, but when he holds me, I can almost forget the sound of locks clicking, the closet door, the smell of that room. I tell myself, maybe this is what healing looks like. Messy, half wrong, but better than before. Then I wake up and remember that safety shouldn't have to be borrowed. Once a man asked me my real name. I almost said it. Then I remembered what names cost. When you give someone your name, they can follow you out of the room. So now I go by Ray. It's short, forgettable. It disappears when they drive away. Amara is for me. Amara is for later. There's a diner on the corner of 24th and Van Buren that stays open all night. I sit there sometimes, order fries I can't afford, and write in my notebook. The waitress never asks questions. I think she knows. Sometimes she brings me coffee without charging. I like to imagine she used to be someone like me and got out. The way she looks at me, not pity, not judgment, makes me feel human again for a few minutes. In the mornings, the motel parking lot looks different. The neon lights are off, and the asphalt is full of stories nobody will ever tell. Once, I saw a little kid playing with a broken comb he found by the trash. His mom pulled him away fast. I watched her leave, holding his hand tight, and thought, maybe she used to stand here too. Maybe she promised herself she'd never come back. There's a police officer who sometimes slows down when he sees me. He never stops, just looks. The last time, he rolled his window down and said, "You're too young to be out here." I wanted to laugh, as if I didn't already know that, as if saying it made him innocent. If he really wanted to help, he'd stop, but he doesn't. No one wants to touch what feels contaminated. I still dream about school sometimes. Locker doors, fluorescent lights, the sound of girls laughing in groups I was never part of. I used to imagine I'd be a nurse or maybe a teacher. I liked the way teachers wrote things on the board like they mattered. Now, when I see chalk dust in a dream, I wake up coughing. A few weeks ago, a church van parked near the motel and handed out sandwiches. One of the ladies gave me a card with a phone number for a shelter. I kept it. It's in my notebook between a grocery receipt and a poem I wrote. I haven't called yet, not because I don't want to, because I'm scared of what comes after. What if they don't believe me? What if they do? What if help feels just like another kind of control? Pregnancy changes everything. I move slower now. Some clients notice, most don't care. My belly's still small enough to hide. I talk to the baby when I'm alone. I tell them stories that start in places I've never been, parks, beaches, real homes. I promise them that one day I'll show them sunlight without glass between us. I don't know if I'm lying or just wishing out loud. When I think about quitting, I try to imagine the first day I don't go out. What would I do instead? How do you unlearn a life that's built on survival? How do you stop selling something when you don't know what else you have to offer? I don't have answers. I just have a slow heartbeat inside me, reminding me that maybe starting over isn't impossible, just terrifying. Sometimes I pass a billboard that says, "God gives second chances." I don't know if that's true, but I want to believe there's at least a first one waiting for me. Maybe not from God, maybe from me. The girl who looks in the mirror at night and still recognizes her eyes, even under all the makeup. So yeah, that's my life for now. The city hums, the air sticks to your skin, and hope is something you whisper instead of shout. I don't need saving. I just need space. Space to grow, to breathe, to find out who I am beyond the neon and the noise. If I can keep walking, keep breathing, maybe I'll make it to morning. And maybe, just maybe, when the sun... I didn't wake up brave. I woke up tired. The kind of tired that lives in your bones and whispers that doing nothing might hurt less than trying. The motel AC rattled above me like a bad memory. My boyfriend, he likes when I call him that, was asleep on his stomach, one arm under the pillow where the cash should have been. I reached there anyway, feeling the thin shape of a card I'd hidden days ago, the shelter number, the one the church lady gave me on Van Buren. I touched it like a secret prayer, then let it go. Not today, I told myself, but maybe soon. Out on the street, the heat was already awake, lifting off the asphalt in wavy curtains. Phoenix doesn't do gentle mornings. It hands you the day like a bill due in full. I moved slower, one palm on my belly, measuring every step. The world noticed or pretended not to. A security guard watched me cross a lot and looked at my stomach, then at the ground. A woman in scrubs held my gaze longer than most people dare, and for a second I thought she might ask if I needed help. She didn't. Maybe she was late for a shift. Maybe she was tired too. By noon, I'd made just enough to cover the room and the food that passes for food when you live by vending machines and microwaves. I slipped $20 into the seam of my notebook and wrote a date beside it, proof I could keep something, anything. Saving money feels like sneaking water into a burning house. You don't know if you'll drink it later, or if the flames will just take it from you. In the afternoon, the outreach van rolled up again. Same woman in the denim jacket, low ponytail, soft voice. She remembered my name. The one he doesn't say please. I don't expect it anymore. I tried to move faster, but the sun pressed down hard, and the scent of hot tar climbed into my throat. I leaned on the shadow of a bus stop and breathed through a wave of nausea. A kid in a red backpack stared at me, then at the belly, then back at me, a puzzle he couldn't solve. The bus came. He climbed in, I stayed. When the roar faded, the silence was loud. Around 4, a car I didn't recognize slid up alongside me. Windows down, music turned low. The driver was smiling the wrong kind of smile. "You look new," he said. "I can get you safe." Real safe, I shook my head. Moved back one step, then another. He kept pace, smooth as a shark. "Got a man?" he asked, casual. "Yeah." "He ain't doing right if you're out here like that." His eyes flicked to my stomach, then to my face. "Come on, I'll treat you like a queen." He said queen the way people say property. I said no again, louder, but the word sounded flimsy in the heat. The car behind him honked, impatient. He laughed and drove off, slow enough to make sure I watched him go. My legs were jelly. I sat on the short concrete wall that borders the lot by the liquor store and counted 7 long breaths. 1, 2, 3, stay here. 4, 5, 6, don't cry. 7, stand up. At 5, I handed over the room money. He counted it twice, not because he didn't trust me, but because money is the only thing that gets counted around here. "Need more tonight?" he said. "We're short." "We're not short," I said. "We just don't save," he squinted. "Don't start." I didn't. The argument pressed against my teeth, but I swallowed it. Not because he was right, he wasn't, but because I was too tired to spend the little energy I had on being heard. I showered instead, lukewarm drip, hand splayed across the curve of me. I whispered to the baby the way I always do when the water hides the words. We're okay, I'm trying. When I came out, he was gone. The pillow was flatter than before. The cot keeps introducing me to sleep like an old friend I lost and thought I'd never see again. Thin mattress, thicker silence, a dull hum from the air purifier like a cat purring behind the wall. In the morning, I wake before the lights, hand on my belly, listening. The drum is there, steady, stubborn. I whisper good morning to the little wave inside me, and it answers with nothing at all, which somehow feels like trust. At the drop-in, they call it stabilization, a word that tastes like chalk until it starts to work. Breakfast is real. Oatmeal, a banana, coffee I can take or leave. I leave it. My nerves don't need any help right now. Jay slides a bus pass across the table the way you pass salt. Clinic today, she says. You want a buddy? I nod, because I'm brave enough to ask for company, and humble enough to know I need it. Outside, the air is forgiving. The city is still loud, still impatient, but there's a pocket in it where my steps sound like my own. We pass the streets where I used to count minutes and strangers. They pass us back without recognition. I keep my eyes forward. The clinic is bright, the chairs are vinyl, the nurse is brisk in a kind way. She takes blood, measures, taps keys. 14 weeks, she says, then prints a photo and hands me proof I can fold. It's a blur with meaning, like a storm cloud inside a snow globe. You have a plan for where you'll stay? The nurse asks, clinical voice softened around the edges. For now, I say. I'm trying to make for now stretch. Stretching is a skill, she says. We can help with the rest. She circles a number on a pamphlet, housing intake, and writes, Tell them I sent you, Maya in purple pen. A name is a... At night the house snores, whispers, creaks. I write letters I don't send. To the kid I was. To the kid I'm growing. To the boy who thinks love is a ledger. Sometimes the letters turn into prayers. Sometimes into lists. Rent, ID, prenatal vitamins. Call grandma, maybe. Ask Alma about paperwork. Say thank you more. Drink water. It's not poetry, but it holds. On day 11, I stand in line at the county office to start the long marriage between me and paperwork. The fluorescent lights judge everyone equally. A clerk calls my number and speaks in the gentle future tense. You'll receive, you'll return, you'll need. I nod like a person who meets requirements. When I sign the last form, my hand cramps. It feels like a small price for a name that points to me. Outside, sun again. I text Alma a thank you I meant to say last time. She replies with a single word. Proud. I don't argue with it. I just let it land. That afternoon we have a house dinner. Spaghetti, salad that's mostly lettuce, garlic bread burned at the edges. A woman named Tasha says grace without asking permission. Thank you for small mercies, big mercies, and mercies we don't recognize yet, she says. We pass plates. We pass stories. For an hour, the table is a country where our passports get stamped human. Later, alone on the porch, I practice the call to my grandmother. The sticky note with hello is soft at the corners from so much touching. I dial halfway and hang up, dial again and hang up sooner, then finally dial all the way and listen to the ring that links here to there. She answers on the fourth like she's been sitting by the phone for years. This is Lila, I say, voice doing the thing a bridge does in the wind. I woke up before sunrise. The room was still half dark, painted with the faint orange glow of the streetlights outside. The air smelled of cigarettes and cheap soap. I could hear the city moving. Cars, footsteps, sirens blending into that endless hum that never really stops in Los Angeles. I sat on the edge of the bed, holding my stomach, feeling the slow ache in my bones. I had dreamed again. Of the closet. The locked door. The voices laughing on the other side. I always wake up before I start screaming. I don't cry anymore. Tears don't come like they used to. Maybe it's because I've used them all. Maybe because crying feels like something soft, and softness doesn't survive out here. I light a cigarette instead, and stare at the smoke curling into the air like ghosts. It's quiet now. That's the worst part. the quiet. In silence, I hear everything I've tried to bury. When I walk out, the sun is rising over the motel. The sky is pink and gold, like it doesn't know what kind of place it's shining on. I see girls still out there, their makeup running, their heels breaking, their faces turned toward the cars. I nod at one of them, a girl named Kia. She's 16. Her jacket's too thin, her eyes too old. I used to think I could protect girls like her. But you can't protect anyone here. The street eats everyone, even the ones who think they're just passing through. The manager at the motel watches me walk by, pretending not to. He knows what I do, but as long as the rent's paid, he doesn't care. That's how it works. Everyone sees, no one helps. Everyone knows, no one speaks. I stop at the diner across the street. Same coffee, same cracked vinyl seats, same waitress with lipstick too red for morning. She calls me baby, like I'm someone worth caring about. Sometimes that's enough to keep me alive another day. When I was 14, I thought getting kidnapped was the end. It wasn't. It was just the beginning of a different kind of prison. First the locked doors, then the men, then the addiction. Freedom's supposed to feel wide, right? But even now, when I walk anywhere I want, I still feel like there's a leash around my throat. Invisible, but always there. A man once told me, "You could be anything, Amara." He said it while handing me $50. I laughed so hard I started to cry. Anything. I could be anything. But somehow I became this. A name whispered through cracked motel doors. A face in someone's memory they'll never admit to. But lately, I've started dreaming of something else. Of a small room with light coming through the curtains. Of a baby's breath on my skin. Of cooking breakfast. Real breakfast, not gas station food. Of waking up next to someone who stays. I know it sounds stupid. People like me don't get that kind of life. But when I close my eyes, I see it. And it feels like hope. Something I thought I'd forgotten how to feel. Yesterday, I found a flyer at the bus stop. Trauma recovery for women. I stuffed it into my pocket and almost threw it away. But I didn't. It's still there, folded and worn. Maybe one day I'll walk through that door. Maybe not today, but maybe. When I get back to my room, the sunlight hits the mirror just right, and I see myself for the first time in a while. The girl looking back isn't the same one who got kidnapped. Her body's thinner, her eyes sharper, but she's still alive. She's still here. I whisper to her, "You did it. You made it through another night." Sometimes survival is the only victory you get. I sit down on the floor, pull out my notebook. I started writing again last week.